Former White House doctor, former physician to President Trump, and congressional candidate in Texas, Dr. Ronny Jackson. Dr. Jackson, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks, Maria. Appreciate you having me.
First, what's most important that we need to understand about coronavirus?
Well, I think the first thing is we need to just understand that, that this is, this is serious. No one's saying it's not, and we need to take it serious, and I think everyone is doing that. The administration's taking this very serious, but we need to keep it in perspective. We talk about the seasonal flu and the impact that it has on us with, 34 million people getting that every year and having anywhere from 30 to 60,000 deaths a year from the seasonal flu. So this is pretty minor right now compared to something like that. It is a new novel virus, so we don't have any immunity to it. We don't have vaccines for it. We don't have medications that effectively treat it. But right now, we need to keep it in perspective and not let this take over our lives too much right now.
Well, it's hard to keep it in perspective with what you just said. We don't have any treatment. We don't have any vaccine. I know there are a lot of efforts, but we're also worried about household things like pets, dogs and cats contracting the coronavirus from their owners. Can humans contract the coronavirus from their pets? And what about the virus being on surfaces that we touch? Let's talk there for a moment.
Well, I'll tell you real quick, just to hit on what you just said, though. I will tell you, though, you're right. I did say that we don't have a vaccine and we don't have medicines to treat it just yet. Those are being rapidly developed. But I will say we have a lot of reassuring information about this virus in the sense that it looks like the mortality is going to be fairly low, and kids aren't getting infected with it, or at least they're not having symptoms from it, and it's really just affecting our older population. With regards to the pets, I did see that there was recently a report that came out saying that a dog in Hong Kong had tested positive for it. I don't actually know, and I don't think anyone actually knows exactly what that means right now. Dogs carry coronavirus as well. I don't know if this is the exact strain of coronavirus that's causing the problems that we're seeing in the human population right now. There's absolutely no evidence right now that even if dogs do carry the virus, dogs or cats, that they can spread it to humans. So I would say that right now that's very early information and way too early to act upon. They are making recommendations, which are probably good recommendations anyways, that if you do have a pet, avoid letting the pet lick you in the face and wash your hands after you touch your pets. But please, continue to take care of your pets. And if you have another family member that can take care of your pet and you've been diagnosed with coronavirus, you might want to let them take care of the pet and isolate yourself from the pet just as a precaution. But I think that it's very precautionary at this point. I don't think that we're going to find that the dogs and cats are going to be spreading this virus around.
What about surfaces, touching surfaces? How long does this virus live on surfaces? And I know it depends on which surface you're talking about, plastic, metals, etc.
Right, and that study just came out as well, and I think that we understand that most viruses, most bacteria and stuff do live on surfaces for a period of time. There's a big difference between being able to test them as being present on a surface versus do they still maintain their ability to infect. So we've been telling people all along to go ahead and take those precautions, keep your surfaces clean, use dilute bleach solutions, other cleaning materials to keep doorknobs, light switches, phones, things that are commonly passed between one individual to another, to keep those as clean as possible. We should be doing that anyways in cold and flu season, but I think that's just a good thing to do right now. But we don't know exactly what that means, the fact that they are present on surfaces for an extended period of time.
Hey, Dr. Jackson, Cabot Phillips here. What do you see as the biggest misconceptions people might have right now that you would like to correct them on?
I just think the biggest misconception right now is that this is going to wipe out half the population of the planet. I mean, we don't know what this is going to do. We know what it's done in South Korea, in Italy, in China, and quite frankly, I think Italy being the exception, I think there's some reasons why Italy is experiencing what they're experiencing. But I think with standard precautions and treating this aggressively, like the White House and the administration is doing, I think that we can be reassured that this is probably going to peak out at some point in the very near future and then go away. It may or may not come back in the fall. If it does, by that time we're going to have some really good antiviral medications that will effectively probably treat this, and it'll be a different game altogether. And then shortly after that, we'll have a vaccine that's going to be developed that will also be a game changer for us. So we just have to get through this early phase. I think we're going to be okay. I just think that it's been blown out of proportion in a lot of ways. But once again, I'm not minimizing the potential seriousness of it. I'm just saying we're not there yet.
I just wanted to add one thing. The CDC CDC said in a statement a short time ago, not today, but in recent days, at this time, there's no evidence that companion animals, including pets, can spread COVID-19. Since animals can spread other diseases to people, it's always a good idea to wash your hands after being around animals. Don't let your dog, for example, lick someone else in the face. But there's no, and I've heard this from veterinarians as well, right now there's no evidence, of course, that pets are spreading COVID-19.
Good, thank you.
And I would say also, you know, we think that this came from the bat population. Viruses have to mutate pretty significantly to move from one animal to another, or from an animal to a human. If that virus is present in the dogs and cats, it's probably not capable of spreading back to other humans at this point, just would be my opinion.
And real quick, in terms of the symptoms, if people think that they maybe have contracted it, it's just flu symptoms, right? I know it's upper respiratory. What should people understand about symptoms if they're feeling sick?
Right, that's right. And then the big difference between this and the flu virus is that this has a little bit more of a lower respiratory component. And, you know, you look for the hallmark symptoms to see if you're really sick, such as shortness of breath and things of that nature. But I would tell people, if you get minor cold and flu symptoms, the last thing you want to do is rush off to your doctor's office to the emergency department, because if you haven't been exposed to coronavirus, that's probably a place where you're likely to get exposed with the population of 6 folks there. So call your doctor first, call in. If you think it's something you would typically treat at home, you know, and take care of yourself at home, then just go ahead and do that. If it gets to the point where you feel like you do need to get care, call first. If you can't, go to the emergency department. You'll get seen and you'll be treated effectively and appropriately there. But look for those symptoms of shortness of breath, cough, things of that nature that would drive you to do something like that.
Dr. Ronny Jackson, good to see you, sir. Thanks very much.